Well, I need to welcome you back, and we're still with the major, and I'm talking about the big story for today. We're talking about the ministers and their ministries that they've just recently been given, and not just that, but a recent call for not just performance, but accountability on the part of what they do. You would totally agree with me that the problem we seem to have had in previous administration is nobody seems to hold these ministers and our leaders accountable of their actions or inactions, and that has always given us a heavy blow. But anyway, we're really going around it and not just blowing it off, but we're actually discussing about it. And hence, we still have our guest. I'm talking of no other person but Mr. Raymond Orogun. But for now, let's take a message from our sponsors. And we're talking about Benita Glass, located in Ughelli, Okokoko, and Warrior Environs. And when we come back, we'll definitely get going. Let's get a message from our supporters and sponsors.
Hey, Willikity, how person want to talk about gas matter? Make Beneta gas plant no sit down for him matter. Gas when we say it dey light and last well. Now Beneta gas plant na filamo. Gas when the full rich mark mek. Now Beneta gas plant na filam, and for any type and size of gas cylinder plus all accessories. Now Beneta gas plant na the touch light up. Now every day now Beneta gas plant they open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. on top refill matters. Oh yeah, make you visit any Beneta gas plant branch. You fit enter inside of Soko off Jakba Road, opposite UBA for PTI Road, Efru, Nehemiah Junction, near former Army checkpoint for Okwokoko, or 101 Ajami Moga Ekpe Road, Wari, or 145 Ughelli Patani Expressway by Aviation Junction when carry eye, they look Shikiman and NNPC roundabout for East Soko Road for Sergeant Quarters for Ughelli. For more information, make you call Beneta Gas Plant for 080-6745-7890. Beneta Gas Plant. Now God, they our back.
Well, definitely that's our sponsors, and we're talking about Beneta Gas Plant. But you do know that you can also be part of it. And the big story is always big and still open for more support and sponsorship. But anyway, let's quickly go back to our discourse and quickly look at it. Well, like I said, we've really looked, in case you're joining us, we looked initially on not just the ministerial list already, the portfolios given to the ministers, but we also looked at the critical part, and that is one that's now being headed, or will still be headed, by no other but Mr. President himself, just like his predecessor. And we're talking of that of the Petroleum Ministry. But I want us to further our discussion and look at other major ministries. And one I want us to quickly look at is the Ministry of Finance, which would be handled by no other person but Mr. Wale Adon. And who will also be coordinating Minister of Economy, and with the Minister of Economy and Blue Economy would also be handled by Bumi Ojo. Yes, we do know both of them are major players in the financial sector, but I just want to know, can they really handle an economy that is already 80 trillion naira in debt? And not just only that, 24.08% is our inflation rate. I want you to look at them and what they even need to do to help change the narrative. And we're already heading to the waters and also to the hard rock. How can they really change our direction and ensure we move to the right path? Looking at both of them, and what do you feel they can do about it?
Well, if I say they will handle it alone and succeed, they won't be able to do that. They will require the effort of other people, other sectors, other technocrats coming to. In fact, they need alliance. But when I look at the person of Wale, well, I can say the man is a seasoned professional. Okay. One-time commissioner for finance. Okay. In Lagos State. I think he had it two times from 1999 and all that. And you look at his profile, look at his pedigree. I think he's well seasoned and experienced in that field. And I believe he's a round hole is a round peg in a round hole. It will fit in when he bring his experiences to bear. I believe something will be done if the system actually wants him to work very well, because you can have nice ideas, you can be very experienced, you can be vast, you can be skillful in what you want to do, you can even know what you want to do. But at the end of the day, if the people that be is saying that no, we don't want it like this, After all, he was recommended by someone.
Yeah.
And if he's working against the wish of his mentor, of his boss, I don't think his skill will come to display.
Will amount to anything.
Will amount to anything. So that was why I said that he won't do it alone. They won't do it. They can't succeed alone. They can't succeed in isolation. He also needs the coordinated effort of people around him. So,
okay, now let's look at the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, handled by Bumi Ojo. Well, we do know her. She's one of the technocrats that would also be a part of this administration.
This government is full of technocrats.
Okay. And you feel she has the no-weeder to help us weather the storms?
Yeah, sure. I have not been able to go deeply into
her profile.
Profile. But when I look at some of the appointments that were some of the portfolios given to some of the people, I look at the Minister of Power.
Okay.
Minister of Power. This just find
Adebayo.
Adebayo, the Minister of Power.
Yeah.
You see, that Minister of Power, when it flashed on my screen, that was it yesterday, I recalled he used to be with the central bank.
Okay.
That man used to be with the central bank.
Adelabo.
Yes, he's a chartered accountant.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is a man who has experience, financial experience, who knows much about money matter? What is he going to do in the powerhouse?
It's a question.
What is he coming there to do? I don't think that is a round hole is a square peg in a round hole. It too fitting. He's vast, we know. He's a technocrat.
Yeah, when it comes to finance.
When it comes to finance. But the skill to handle power, does he have it?
It's a question.
That is another big question. So I think that is, to me, that does not plumb.
Oh, okay, let's leave power. And you've talked greatly about the economy. I want us to now look at one, and that's the Ministry of State for Labor and Employment. That will be piloted by a former lawmaker, Nkiru Onye Jika, coming from the same region as the former Minister for Labor and Employment. I'm talking about Dr. Chris Ngige. Who had a turbulent, and I'll say, who had a turbulent time with organized labor, from that of resident doctors to even Nigerian Labour Congress itself, to even that, who would even forget the infamous 9 months or and more of lecturers, which is
no work, no pay.
Well, anyway, let's leave that. But would she be able to handle it? Two questions. The reason I'm asking this question, as it stands, Labour seems to be on the edge. And you would really agree with some of these harsh economic policies that is coming out of this administration. And would she be able to handle the anxiety, the stress, the rigorous and sometimes hard work coming from organized labor, knowing that she will be one of our first female Minister for Labor and Employment? It's a question. Because definitely we're going to have a very turbulent time under this administration as it concerns organized labor. For sure, we're going to have it, and we even started having it. So would she be able to negotiate, see how she can do it, or are we going to see almost a similar from Dr. Chris Ngige when he said, no work, no pay?
Well, Mr. Michael Ray, I want to make it emphatical here that performance is not gender related.
Well, you're quite sure of that. So.
Now, because she's a lady, whether she's going to, will she be able? Of course.
Because honestly, nobody will envy her position as it stands.
Yes.
Nobody. I doubt if any of the ministers will even envy her on account of where she is now. All of them will be. When I mean envy, definitely, you know, the fireworks will come from organized labor. Yes. And it's going to be a ministry that she has to be up every minute. So that's what I mean by envy. Nobody will envy her.
Now, let me also come this way. From inception, we'll be seeing this recurrence, Easternam. Calling the labor minister and all that. Maybe I can attribute that due to their peculiarity.
Okay.
You know, due to their peculiarity, their skill in trade, their skill in all those things and all that. Then they're coming back again if she will be able to perform. We look at the Herculean task that was faced by our man Ngige, and some of those tasks are still there.
Yes.
Some of those issues
are still there, not yet done, and some are coming again on board.
They have not been
resolved. That's why I said nobody envies
Yes,
her.
and new ones are still coming. Now let us look deeply why Ngige was unable
to deal with the issue,
to unsettle the issue. Is it that he lacked the capability, or is it that he lacked the will to do it? Of course, Ngige was not acting alone. Ngige has boss and bosses. If he knows what to do, but he cannot bring to the face of the people what he wants to do, because he will not be the one to execute it.
Okay.
He's just a mouthpiece. He's just a representative. All right.
So you mean everything was centered on the body language of the administration?
That is it. Of the sole administrators of the caucus of the party. You understand? So he has to negotiate according to the demand of his party
mindset.
He's not negotiating by himself. I say, okay, he might have the will to say, I want to salvage this situation. But what about his party? What about his people? What about those he's representing? The boss. So the dynamics are so complex, and I believe those dynamics are still there. They are not independent. The ministers are not acting independently. So
on their own accord.
So this lady who is coming back again to step into the turbulence that is already there, created by the system, handled by Ngige. Now he ran away from it. He will inherit the murky waters. And if the party system, the presidency does not want things to work out,
it will never work.
She will speak
irrespective
and act
of her.
according to that
So you feel whoever is there, irrespective of your negotiating skills, everything lies on Mr. President.
Everything lies on the presidency. Let's not just particulate it on Mr. President.
Anyway, we do have a president and not a presidency at stands now, unlike the previous administration.
Yes.
Okay, now let's leave that and go to another major ministry that it will be injustice if we do not talk about, and that is the Ministry of Defense. Yes, a former governor is now handling it, Mohammed Badaru
Matawale.
Yes, and that's number one. He's the Minister of Defense, and he'll be supported by no other person but Bello Matawale as Minister for State on Defense. Well, I monitored a whole lot of news outlets, starting from 3 a.m. this morning. And funny enough, this is the ministry almost everybody's talking about, on account of many reasons. Well, definitely you agree that we're really having issues when it comes to security, and who will forget the ill-fated attack on our Nigerian Air Force plane that killed a whole lot of Nigerian soldiers. May their soul rest in peace. Under my Mr. President, I've called them heroes. Yes, heroes they are. But this is a ministry that is causing a whole lot of buzz, especially in the social media space. Everybody, after seeing the names that were headed, everybody is talking about it. Now, Matawale was a governor of Zamfara State that was so bedeviled with the issue of banditry. And many said he could not hold sway. And even up to now, we're still having pocket of banditry in Zamfara State. So there's this wonder, why not make him a Minister of Defense when he could not deal with the security issues in his state? I do understand that definitely the security architecture is so centered or so fashioned to always come from the center, and that's from Abuja. But would it make sense that you're putting a man of defense in a state that he could not hold sway when it comes to the issue of defense and saving the life and properties of his citizens?
Now, thank you very much, Michael Ray. Let me come from this angle. There is an adage in our local parlance that says that if you want your fish to be safe in your kitchen, don't give it to the rat.
Okay.
Do not give it to the rat. All right. And
if you want the baby to be safe, give it to the witch.
give it to the witch. Yes. Exactly. That is where I was going to.
Okay.
So that we know he's a witch. So anything that happens to the baby, we just easily come and say what happened to the baby. But let's come back to our discussion. The issue of security concern in Nigeria, most especially now, I think is going to. We pray it shouldn't heighten, all right? Okay. We pray it shouldn't heighten. When you look at the turbulence from the Sahel region, you discover that these things are, the dust is rising. And what is the body language of Mr. President when he is making all these appointments? Number one, starting from the special advisor to the presidency on defense, I think. What is it? Is it Rebadu?
Yes. No, he's the NSA.
He's the NSA. Good. You see, he's on security, and he's also from the northern side. Then you also look at the minister and the two ministers that from that way.
That same region.
So what is trying to do now is that from the theater of war, from the theater of insecurity, he is giving it to those who are experiencing it firsthand. That is my own point of view, my own assessment.
I don't know
he's
doing.
What my own assessment.
So you feel it would be wrong giving it to a Southerner that is not bedeviled with the issue, but rather give it to somebody who is a Northerner that has experienced it before and will likely have a clue of what it means.
Yes, that is where I am going to. So you check the security architecture right now. Even the vice president.
Yeah.
Even the vice president is there. In fact, that is the center of the whole actions. So you discover that the people who are feeling the heat, they are there to advise, they are there to coordinate, and they are there to superintend as ministers. So I believe that this thing.
But were they able to handle it before now?
We are giving them new assignment, and this is a new government. So let us not just look at were they able to handle it before, are they going to handle it now? There is room for growth.
Okay. Now anyway, let's go on further. And again, I feel it will not be fair if we do not talk about one other ministry before we go on a break, and that is that of the FCT. And Wiki will naturally come on sway. And undermining, you've talked a great deal that you feel it was strategic in their vision in putting Wike as FCT minister. I rather want to ask on 2 points though. Yeah, when it comes to performance, well, he did a great deal as it concerns the governor of Rivers State. So, it's on account that he performed extremely well. And if that comes to the Federal Capital Territory, he will definitely perform on account of structures and that. That is by the way. But when it comes to his style of leadership, that's another question. So do we need such turbulence?
Yes.
On the style of leadership in the FCT? That's a center for unity for all Nigerians.
And excellence.
Let's still leave excellence. But talk about unity.
Yes.
Do we need somebody that is being alleged that he doesn't listen to others? He rather take his decision irrespective of what you feel. Should that be the FCT minister?
Okay, let me come from a comic angle.
Yeah, do.
I was watching his screening in the
Senate, the red chambers.
In the red chambers.
Yeah.
And he prided himself that you know me, I have not been coming to Abuja for anything. You understand now?
Funny enough, he's not.
Funny enough, he's going to be sleeping in Abuja right now.
Maybe they saw that and they had to let him stay there.
I don't come to Abuja for anything. Right now, politicians, they are very technical. They have brought your mat to Abuja. Then that is, by the way, then you talk about he does not listen. Will he be able to
leadership? That's what the concern is.
The question I want to ask you now is that in Rivers State, where he ruled, where he administrated for 8 years, even more than 8 years, he has been in the corridor of power. When you go to Rivers State, is there any division among them? Is there any ethnic division? Is there any ethnic quarrel that Wike is doing this, doing that?
To favor this,
to favor that. Well, when you look at when you look at the development which he championed in Port Harcourt, I believe he went around. He went around to a great percentage. He went around
all the local government.
It's fine. So I believe that Governor Wike is a man that is a little bit. Let me not just use derogatory language.
Yeah, but I understand what you mean. Rigidity. That's where the question lies.
He's a little bit rash with his words. He's not too refined. Let me use that word. I beg your pardon, please. That refined administrative language. You know, the day they were screening him, he was a little bit. He put on suit anyway.
So he was happy about that.
He was coordinating himself, and suddenly the guy lost the whole thing, and he turned to his normal, street language.
Okay, well,
but the truth is that despite all those rascality, despite all those way of behavior, this man is always very objective.
And most persons say he would have even handled that of the Petroleum Ministry on account of him delivering. Yes. He has never failed to deliver.
Yes.
That man,
he will deliver. He knows what the people want, irrespective of his leadership style. So do you feel
he's now in a better ministry?
I cannot say he's in a better ministry.
Would they have done better in any other? If you were given a chance to pick a ministry, where would you have loved him to be?
My God, I will give it to him, Minister of Petroleum.
Okay, well, anyways, as much as you would have wished that, he'll be taking his mats to Abuja very soon. But anyway, we need to go on a break now and also do our own commercials. And when we come back, we'll continue our discussion as we look at all of this and more right here on The Big Story.